Glenn Everett, master of machines. Well, here we are at the Autobahn Narre Warren annual Show and Shine event. The car park here is absolutely packed, so let's go and check out some of these machines. Well, I found a very angry big 64 Galaxie here. We're with Glenn, the owner. Mate, tell us about this machine.
Well, it's 64, it's got a Robert Pond, all aluminium 427. Made plenty of power on the dyno, it goes all right.
So effectively it's a replica of a lightweight Galaxie like the Holman and Moody cars they used to race?
That's right.
And what have you done to replicate that in the body of the car?
Whole front's fiberglass guards, bonnet, bumpers, bumper irons, boot, everything. It's all fiberglass, just like they were in the old days, except they run aluminium bars in the old days and fiberglass doors. But apart from that, that's what we tried to do. So
there'd be a pretty heavy car in standard form. That'd pull a fair chunk of weight off it, wouldn't it?
Yeah, and the motor weighs about the same as a 289, so it's taken a bunch of weight out of it.
So she's an all alloy deal.
All alloy.
And what sort of power and torque did it make?
620 and 610 pounds of torque.
Massive amount of torque, like as much torque as horsepower.
Yeah, no, it pulls really well, it's good.
And she's got a dual 4-barrel setup like the Holman and Moody cars had?
Yeah, it's exactly the same as what they used to run in the old days.
And the car itself has basically been built from the ground up.
Ground up. Rack and pinion steering, column, everything. Every nut and bolt's been off it and done. 4-wheel disc brakes, everything.
Spectacular machine, mate. Absolutely love it.
Yeah, thanks.
Well, I found an amazing looking 64 Buick Electra here, owned by Peter Gray. Peter, tell us about this machine.
Well, I bought the car from an older guy who's been a collector of sort of unusual sort of cars. He bought it from Armidale in New South Wales, which was originally delivered as a one-owner car from that guy in Armidale.
So it was Australian delivered?
It was Australian delivered right-hand drive. It's got the 401 big block nailhead engine, and it's all still in original condition basically. So the interior trim and everything is all still original as the day it came out of the factory. So it's a bit of a find.
So effectively it's a survivor?
Well, it is a survivor, yeah, and I just think it's had an easy life. Obviously, the owner in Armidale must have used it as a bit of a Sunday car, I reckon, because it's got about 12,000 miles on the clock. So it's a fairly low kilometre car, yeah.
And they're a big thing. I mean, they're very long, aren't they? I think you mentioned before they were one of the longest cars manufactured in that year.
Yeah, in 1964 they were the longest car made by the GM group. It's obviously a bit of a handful to try and park in the shopping centres, but you certainly take up about 4 bays, yeah.
They didn't design today's parking spaces for these machines of old,
No,
did
they didn't. No, they didn't. No, but it's a fantastic car to drive. It's got everything, all electric seats, windows, air conditioning, and believe it or not, it's got 2 like dimmer switches on the floor, and one of them is actually an automatic search for the radio. So even back in '64,
wow,
you push that button, it'll actually search for the local radio station. So even in '64, they had some pretty modern technology.
Auto seek, mate. By foot.
Auto seek by foot. Yeah. Came across it by mistake, actually. Yeah. So.
And does it feel big to drive on the road? Does it cruise well?
No, you probably wouldn't even think you're driving a big limousine type car. It's actually very easy to drive. It's very comfortable on the road, very soft on the suspension. And it actually goes quite well. I mean, it's got a bit of get up and go. I mean, I think the nailhead engines had a fair bit of power behind them, so it actually gets up and boogies pretty good.
I've found a red EH here that just stopped me in my tracks. It belongs to this man here, David Barnden, and guess what? He works for Autobahn.
Sure do.
Mate, tell us about this beautiful piece of machinery.
Well, I've had this car for about 12 years now. It's got a 350 Chev in it, and it's got a half chassis through. Mixed motor trimming did the trim for me. I did all the work myself. I built the engine, redid all the body. The only thing I didn't do on this car was actually do the final coat.
So Dave, tell us about this power plant, mate.
Yeah, it's a 350 Chev, about 300 horsepower. Not super strong, but it's a really nice cruiser. You know, it's got all the nice gear on it. It's all pretty old school. Stainless steel headers all the way through to a single pipe at the end. TH350 tranny, through to a Ford 9-inch diff.
They're not a very heavy car, the EHs, are they? So power to weight should be pretty wild.
Yeah, it is pretty good. It's got the four-wheel disc on it as well, so it stops pretty well. but it's just a cruiser. It's not designed for drag or anything like that. It's just nice, and everyone loves it. As you're cruising down the street, everyone wants to talk to you about it. When you stop to fill up with fuel, everyone's either had one or their old man's had one or whatever. So
Well, it had that effect on me, mate.
yeah, they're fantastic cars. This is actually the second one I've had. I bought the first one when I was 15 years old, and I'm over 50 now, and it's in my blood. I just love EHs. They're fantastic.
Well, I've had a few of you four-cylinder fans out there tell me, where's the four-cylinder love? Well, guess what? I found it. We're with Gareth Walker and his beautiful Escort here, mate. Tell us all about it.
Well, it's a Mark 1 RS2000 replica. Unfortunately, it's not the genuine thing, but it looks like it from 5 metres away.
Looks like it's got a very serious power plant in it, a big set of pipes on it too.
Yeah, the motor in it was built by Warren Heath. A lot of headwork, forged bottom end, running 45mm throttle bodies, custom-made set of pipes by Oz 4-wheel drive. Yeah, it goes all right. It puts out a good amount of power for a car that only weighs 900 kilos. It gets around all right.
So she's fuel injected?
Yeah, it is at the moment, actually. That might not stay that way for too much longer. It actually went better when it was on carby, so we're probably going back.
And what sort of circuits do you run the car at?
All the main Victorian circuits, so Winton, Phillip Island, Sandown. Was out at Sandown a couple of weeks ago. It's a great fun thing around Phillip Island. That's awesome. That's the best fun you can have with pants on, I reckon.
We're here with Gary Schaefer and his absolutely spectacular 58 star model custom line. Mate, this thing looks absolutely incredible. Tell us all about it.
Yeah, thanks, man. It's been a 6-year project that I've found in New South Wales, actually, and it was a rat rod, and looks nothing like it was.
A rat rod?
It was a rat rod, believe me. It was hand painted brown, red oxide, and I'd made an oath because I had one about 30 years ago. I said this one's going to be restored, and it took me a long time, a lot of help from a few friends.
It is sensational, and I notice you've updated the drivetrain. It hasn't got the old Y block in it.
No, it's got a 302 Windsor in it, all dedicated gas. It just drives perfectly, you know, really nice.
Mate, fantastic car. Thanks very much for talking to us tonight.
Thank you very much, man. Thanks very
My
much.
pleasure. Does this thing sound absolutely insane or what? With Graham Matthews here, mate, tell us about this boat. It's wicked.
Well, it's a 383 stroker on NOS, putting out probably around about 650 horsepower with a 150 shot of NOS, so probably about 800 horsepower. It keeps the blood pumping.
And what sort of quarter mile times does it run on water?
Well, with this motor, because we've only just built it, it hasn't actually been tested yet, so we're hoping that it's going to pull probably 11s, maybe 12s.
And that's from a standing start.
Yeah. So
That's crazy. How hard do they launch on water?
Well, when you take off, they're really quick, but we control them with a cab plate, so it keeps the nose down into the water. When you hit the NOS and things like that, they can just go air very easily, and that's when it turns ugly.
NOS is so violent with the amount of torque. Instant, isn't it?
It is. And the NOS is so exhilarating because it's just so... The power, it's like giving a motor a shot of steroids. It's just incredible.
I've done a lot of dyno work over the years with NOS, and just to watch that dyno graph just go straight up to the sky, it's insane at any RPM.
Some of the top fuel hydros, you're talking over 300 kilometres an hour. The G-forces are incredible. You talk about a V8 supercar that's, producing probably 600-700 horsepower doing 200. You imagine doing that on the water with no wheels.
Mate, you blokes are brave. Very brave.
Well, don't worry, it goes wrong, and when it does, it's not very nice.
Thanks for watching, and we'd really appreciate it if you'd like and comment on this video. Be sure to subscribe to our channel and click the notifications bell because there's a lot more content coming your way.